The One World Championships visited this year, and the 2.6-mile circuit at Zandvoort is the most unpredictable of them all, for it's right on the coastline, and stiff sea breezes blow sand onto its surface. And that, plus unpredictable, squally rain showers, has made it especially difficult to set up the cars and choose the right tyres. With 4 races to go, Jody Scheckter still leads the championship with his Ferrari teammate Gilles Villeneuve and Ligier Jacques Laffite tying for second. Any of the 3 could end up as world champion, but the much criticised points system gives none of the others a real chance of catching them in the 4 remaining races. And after 2 days' practice, it's the now familiar situation of the Renaults, the Saudia Williams and the Ferraris being the fastest. For the second race in succession, little René Arnoux Renault's quickest, over 4 seconds faster than the lap record in spite of a new chicane, with Alan Jones's Saudia Williams alongside him. Row 2, Clay Regazzoni, Saudia Williams, and Jean-Pierre Jabouille, Renault. Row 3, Scheckter and Villeneuve, ahead of Laffite and the inspired Keke Rosberg's Olympus Wolf. Arnoux, Formula 2 champion of Europe in 1977 and now very much a star of Formula 1. Alan Jones, 2 wins in succession, Austria and Germany. Front row of the grid for the 4th race in succession, but only 4th in the World Championship because he only had 1 third place in the vital first half of the season. Row 2, Regazzoni and Jabouille. Regazzoni first in the British Grand Prix, and Jean-Pierre Jabouille on the right there, first in France. His 30th Grand Prix, 36 years old, and the man who's developed the Renault. And behind the first 2 rows, the 3 championship contenders, the 2 Ferraris, Scheckter and Villeneuve, and in row 4, Jacques Laffite in the Ligier. So, all set for the start. The green lights will go, and then in good weather, 75 laps, 197 miles, and Villeneuve comes out to the right. Regazzoni to the left. He's going up to the Armco, and Arnoux hit Regazzoni. There's a wheel off there. Into Tarzan, the first right-hander they go, and Arnoux pulling off to the left. Looks as though he's going off the circuit, and Alan Jones is leading. Villeneuve, Jabouille, Pironi, Laffite, and there's the wheel rolling across the circuit. What a start. John Watson round the right-hander up to the left, and we'll probably have a look and see what happened later on as the leaders go streaming away on lap 1 out of 75. A long, long way to go. Up to Ski Black, the highest point on the course. Then on towards the new chicane, designed by Jody Scheckter, the Ferrari team star. Out of sight they go, and here's the chicane. Alan Jones leading Villeneuve, Jabouille 3rd, Pironi 4th, Laffite 5th, Rosberg 6th, Lauda 7th, Watson 8th, and Tombe in 9th position. And that's the leader, Saudia Williams, Alan Jones, and that's Regazzoni's car, number 28, down at the left front. So it was Regazzoni's wheel that came off at the start. And at the end of lap 1, it's Alan Jones. Behind him, Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari. Then the white and yellow Renault of Jean-Pierre Jabouille. That is in 4th place, Didier Pironi. And there, round the right-hander at Tarzan, goes Alan Jones. Behind him, Villeneuve. There's Jabouille. There's the Candy Tyrrell. There is Laffite. There is Niki Lauda, Rosberg, Watson, Jarier, and the midfield men stream through, and at the back as they go round the right-hander, it's Elio De Angelis in the shadow. Jody Scheckter, an appalling start. Now let's look again at what happened at the start. Watch to the right of your picture and look at Villeneuve. There he is, coming in the Ferrari, trying to come through from row 3. Now look to the left, and there's Regazzoni in the white Saudia Williams, coming up alongside René Arnoux in the turbocharged Renault. And the course is getting narrower. Look at the way the Armco arrows in, and Regazzoni hits it now. Into his side goes Arnoux. Off comes the wheel, bounces across the front of Rosberg's car, who miraculously misses it as Alan Jones leads into Tarzan. An incredible situation, and Arnoux out of the race, the pole position man, almost before it had begun. But now, with 2 laps completed, it's Alan Jones and Villeneuve getting closer, and Jabouille not so far behind in 1st, 2nd and 3rd positions. Tarzan. That's one of the few places that you can pass on this 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit. And Villeneuve getting closer and closer all the time to the redoubtable Alan Jones, who has won the last 2 Grand Prix in what seemed to be an unbeatable motor car. And that's Arnoux, that's René Arnoux, out of the race, out of the car. The man who was in pole position in Austria, in pole position here in Holland. His race is finished. Start line shunt, out goes Arnoux. On go Alan Jones, Villeneuve, Jabouille, lap 3. This is Panorama, the 95 mile an hour second gear right-hander. Up into third, 125 miles an hour, and Villeneuve hits the curbing there. On to Boss Wheat, fourth gear, 140 miles an hour. And Jabouille dropping back just a little bit as they come into the end of lap 3, the start of lap 4, the first 3 virtually together. A gap developing between these 3 and the battle for 4th between Pironi, Rosberg and Watson. And where is Jody Scheckter, who was 16th at the end of lap 1? Now look at this. Into the left-hander at Hugenholtz, second gear, 90 miles an hour. Accelerate away uphill, just drift out onto the curve. 1, 2, 3 they go. Fourth gear, Hunsaruk. Fifth gear, Jean Velt. 165 miles an hour as they go up towards Ski Black, back into fourth gear. Now up into fifth. Up along the top section of the circuit, Hondenflap, and approach the chicane. Scheckter chicane. Jones leads. Villeneuve second, Ferrari. Jabouille third, Renault. Ford Cosworth engine V8 leads, then the flat 12 Ferrari, then the V6 turbocharged 1.5 litre Renault. And what a race! Less than 2 seconds between first and third, coming up to complete lap 4. Alan Jones leads through at the end of lap 4. Villeneuve still behind him second. Jabouille still behind him in third position. Then Pironi, Rosberg and Watson in 6th position. Into Tarzan again. Alan Jones, and that's Regazzoni. Regazzoni walking in, the oldest man in the race. Obviously trying very hard at the beginning, maybe in the hope of retaining that second seat in the Saudi Williams team for next year, which has yet to be decided. 7 laps completed, and look at this. Alan Jones, Villeneuve and Jabouille still together. Pironi, Rosberg in the Olympus Wolf and Watson in the Marlboro McLaren still behind them, 4th, 5th and 6th. 3 very different motor cars. An Australian leads, a French-Canadian second, a Frenchman third. Alan Jones, first in Germany, first in Austria. Villeneuve there, first in South Africa, first at Long Beach. Jabouille in third position, the winner of the French Grand Prix. And that's John Watson in the pits. 6th position, John Watson in the Marlboro McLaren, and it looks as though, and that's Patrese all around the circuit. There's sensation, and that's Patrese at Tarzan, the ex-kart world champion 2 times. A poor season for him. It's his 34th Grand Prix. He's ripped down the catch fencing at Tarzan, and he crashed here with Didier Pironi last year, right at the beginning of the race. So he's had 2 terrible Dutch Grand Prix. And on go Alan Jones and Gilles Villeneuve, having a magnificent 1979 Dutch Grand Prix. Jabouille dropping back a bit in third position. Patrese out of the car, obviously perfectly all right. Walking back, and as Jones, Villeneuve and Jabouille go through to complete another lap, out comes the McLaren from the pits. Into lap 9, the first 3, no change, but still anybody's race, because any one of them could be driving a tactical race. Alan Jones is controlling the Dutch Grand Prix from the start and nearly losing the Williams as he came out of the left-hander at Hugenholtz. Gilles Villeneuve, after World Championship points, he is 6 points behind Jody Scheckter, the World Championship leader at the moment. 9 points for a win, 6 points for second place, 4 for third place, and at the moment Gilles Villeneuve is qualifying for 6 points and Jody Scheckter is not even in the running. Third place man, Jean-Pierre Jabouille, Renault. Down to Panorama again, the second gear, quite slow, only 95 miles an hour. Accelerate away to third and fourth at Bossuit. Complete another lap. And there are Pironi and Rosberg battling for fourth position. Pironi in the Candy Tyrrell and Rosberg in the Olympus Wolf. And that's Jody Scheckter up into sixth place. Jody Scheckter has fought his way up from 16th to fifth position. An incredible drive. Sixth position, Jody Scheckter. So, and behind him, Jarier and Lafitte. There are the leaders. And there go Pironi and Rosberg as Jones and Villeneuve battle on at the front. A real ding-dong Dutch Grand Prix in the sand dunes of Zandvoort. Another lap completed. End of lap 10. Alan Jones and Villeneuve closer again. Right in the slipstream, tucked under the rear wing of Alan Jones, and he's coming out of the slipstream. Gilles Villeneuve's going to try and take Jones on the outside of Tarzan. An incredible manoeuvre. Is he going to do it? Jones is fighting back. He's not going to let him, but Villeneuve keeps it on. And in an absolutely magnificent manoeuvre, Gilles Villeneuve, the French-Canadian, 2 times Grand Prix winner this year, has taken the lead in the Dutch Grand Prix. Now, what is Alan Jones going to do about it? Can he do anything about it? It looks as though already, now that Villeneuve has got ahead of the Saudi Williams, he's easing out a gap. Jabouille is still in third position, still watching from behind and still very close indeed. Villeneuve leads then. Jones is second, Jabouille is still third in a magnificent event. Now, let's see how it happened. Villeneuve out of Jones's slipstream, right round the outside at Tarzan. And 2 years ago, when Mario Andretti and James Hunt had a ding-dong at that corner, James Hunt said, "We do not pass on the outside in Formula One." Gilles Villeneuve obviously doesn't believe in that. And now Rosberg is ahead of Pironi. Keke Rosberg, the brilliant Finnish driver in the Olympus Wolf, who has taken the place of James Hunt in that team, is up into fourth position ahead of Didier Pironi. Rosberg there, who won the very first Formula One race that he drove in, the International Trophy in appalling conditions at Silverstone last year, is now in fourth position, behind Villeneuve, Jones and Jabouille, ahead of Pironi and Scheckter. And this is a 75-lap race. It's a long event. The leaders completing another lap, and it's still Villeneuve. Look behind him, not very far, the white and green Saudi Williams of Jones, then Jabouille. Then behind Jabouille, the gap. The gap before Rosberg and Pironi. And that, who's that? That's Jan Lammers, the Dutchman, anxious to do well in front of his home crowd. Off the circuit, blown engine, laying oil on the track, off the circuit at Tarzan, right at the end of the straight. And he knows that the race is over for him. He's getting out of the car. He certainly hasn't got very far to go to get home, because Jan Lammers lives here in Zandvoort where the race is run. Leans down into the cockpit, switches off the ignition. No need to look back. Finish over the Armco. Jan Lammers out of the race. That's one shadow left, and that's De Angelis' car. And so, coming to the end of lap 16, look at the gap now between Gilles Villeneuve, double Grand Prix winner this year, and Alan Jones in second position. There is Jabouille out of Bossuit, the 140-mile-an-hour right-hander, to complete another lap. Jones through in second place, Jabouille through in third position. Then the gap before Keke Rosberg should appear in sight, with Pironi behind him. There is Keke Rosberg. And it's Scheckter. Scheckter right behind Pironi. Schecter's in 6th position. He's coming out of the slipstream. He's going to do the same to Pironi that Villeneuve did to Alan Jones. He's passing on the outside of Tarzan, and he does it, and he's up into 5th position. So now Ferrari is in the lead, and Ferrari is in 5th position. Villeneuve leads, Scheckter is in 5th position. Jones 2nd, Jabouille 3rd, and there's Rosberg in 4th place. Now, Jody Scheckter has got a long haul in front of him before he sees Keke Rosberg, the Finnish driver, as Gilles Villeneuve, the leader, approaches us very quick indeed. Villeneuve trying to ease out as much distance as he can between himself and the 2nd place man, Alan Jones. And Jarier, lap 22, and Jarier wants a push. 7th position he was in, and up come the marshal. And you can see from the way the cars are going that Jarier is in a very dangerous position. He's at Panorama and he's facing the wrong way. That's why he wants out, and who can blame him? Elio De Angelis, and behind him Gilles Villeneuve. And De Angelis is 13th. They're approaching Panorama, which is where Jarier is. And Villeneuve is going to come out of De Angelis' rear wing and take him on the inside, and there is Jarier, and they're passed safely. Lap 24, and there is Jody Scheckter. Now, Scheckter is going to try and catch Keke Rosberg, the man who is in 4th position. An absolutely storming drive by the South African. Leads the World Championship. Wants desperately, it's his great ambition to be world champion this year. And that's Rosberg in front of him. Rosberg 4th, Scheckter 5th. So Scheckter is up from 16th to 6th, from 6th to 5th. He's now in the wheel tracks of that man, Keke Rosberg, number 20 in the Olympus Wolf, who is in 4th position, and that's the highest that the Wolf has been this season. And Keke Rosberg is the man who's done it. Boss Wheat. And there's a blow-up, big blow-up in the background. I don't think that's fire, that'll be oil, smoke from the engine. The driver's okay, difficult to see who it is. He's perfectly all right. It's John Watson. It's John Watson, the Marlboro McLaren driver, who went into the pits, got back into the race, and looks as though he's perfectly okay, but out. That's Villeneuve. Leading. Alan Jones. Where is Alan Jones? Looks as though he's dropped back. There he is, still in 2nd position, and he's not very far behind Villeneuve. Some 1/3 of the race completed now. Jean-Pierre Jabouille, the Frenchman, in 3rd position. Alan Jones there in 2nd place. And the first 3 are getting just a little bit spread out in comparison with the positions they've been holding in the past. Now, look at this. This is Jody Scheckter behind Rosberg. Rosberg 4th, Jody Scheckter 5th, and he's doing it. He's punching out on the very fastest part of the course. Demon late braking at Tarzan. And Scheckter is in 4th position now. Keke Rosberg fighting back. He's not taking it lying down, very much taking it sitting up. And Keke Rosberg hangs on, but Jody Scheckter has got the power and the experience, and he's using both to the full as they go round Hugenholtz to Gerlach. From Gerlach up towards Ginveld, towards Jan de Vicker and Ski Black. And so Jody Scheckter, and that's the 3rd place man. That's Jean-Pierre Jabouille into the pits in the turbocharged Renault. And you can see it's not a wheel change. Whatever it is, Jabouille. Now, this gives Jody Scheckter the chance for 3rd position. There's Scheckter in 4th place, Rosberg in 5th position, and Jean-Pierre Jabouille, who is in 3rd place, is stationary in the pits. And his teammate, René Arnoux, out at the beginning of the race. If Jody Scheckter keeps going, and Jabouille's out of the car, and therefore out of the race, and that means when Jody Scheckter passes the pits, he will definitely be in 3rd position from 16th, an unbelievable drive. And Rosberg, there's Scheckter 3rd, behind him Rosberg in 4th position, back into 4th position, by default through Jabouille going out of the race. And the news, just news, come through from the pits that Jabouille's trouble is clutch. The Renault is out of the race with clutch trouble. And Jody Scheckter on his, and there's the stricken Renault, the turbocharged V6 engine, beautiful car, and the skirts are being lifted up and clipped into position by the mechanic, presumably so that the car can be wheeled away safely. Yes, there's the jack coming out at the back, and that confirms that it's clutch trouble. The car's going to be wheeled away on its front wheels. Lap 35, there's the positions. Villeneuve, Jones, Scheckter, Pironi fourth, Nelson, Pironi in fourth position, and Piquet fifth, and Lafitte in sixth position. And Pironi's moved up to fourth position because, unfortunately, Keke Rosberg is out of the race. Cruel luck for the Finnish driver, as Jackie Ickx has now got Villeneuve behind him and is about to be lapped by the French-Canadian in the Ferrari. Jackie Ickx, the very experienced Belgian driver, brilliant sports car driver, ex-Ferrari Formula One man, and just whistled by Gilles Villeneuve, has passed him. Alan Jones is going to do the same shortly, and so it's Villeneuve, Jones, Scheckter in third position, Pironi fourth, Piquet in fifth position, and it's a long time since the Brabham Alpha has lasted that long, and in sixth position Jacques Lafitte. And the top three in the World Championship are all in the first six. And if these positions stay the same, it will mean that Gilles Villeneuve will be within 1 point of the World Championship lead behind Jody Scheckter, with 3 races still to go. Tremendously exciting, and Boss Wheat again, looking down the long straight, the longest straight on this 2.6 mile Zandvoort circuit. There is Villeneuve, down to Tarzan, second gear, up into third, 125 miles an hour to Gerloff. Jones is through and passes Jackie Ickx, so both the first and the second place man have lapped Jackie Ickx. Halfway in the race, 75 laps, and they are just about at half distance now, and it's a cruel pace. Villeneuve over the East Tunnel, down to Panorama again. Jones behind him. From Panorama, the long haul to Boss Wheat, fourth gear, tremendously fast. There's Jones out of Scheckter chicane. And that's Elio De Angelis, that's the youngest driver in the race. The young, very wealthy, 21-year-old Elio De Angelis in the second of the two shadows. His teammate Jan Lammers out at Tarzan, and now Elio De Angelis out of the car and helping push it back to a safe gap in the Armco and right at the start point, so he's almost home himself. De Angelis back to his pit, completing lap 45, and as Lafitte comes towards us, about to be lapped, there's Villeneuve, and right behind Villeneuve is Alan Jones. The gap was over 4 seconds, and now it's obviously far less than that. Look for yourself, there is Villeneuve, leading, trying very hard. Just watch the way the Ferrari goes. Look at it, he nearly lost it there. But Jones is closing all the time. Hugenholz, Huntsaru, Jan de Vicker, fourth gear, Sky Black, 160 miles an hour towards Hondenflack and the chicane. Lafitte is about to be lapped. Villeneuve into the chicane, just clipping the curve. Jones behind him. Now, I wonder if Alan Jones all the time has been conserving his strength and forcing Villeneuve to test himself. On the grass goes Gilles Villeneuve, and if Jones is forcing Villeneuve to test himself, he's certainly succeeding, because the young French-Canadian is trying very, very hard indeed. Now, this is the end of lap 46 out of 75. Villeneuve, and just look how close Alan Jones is. Tarzan, right up underneath the rear wing of the Ferrari goes Alan Jones. And now Gilles Villeneuve will see in the mirrors to the left and right of his fairing that big white looming shape of the Saudia Williams car, with the very determined and the very experienced Alan Jones grimly at the wheel. But on acceleration, on this part of the course anyway, the Ferrari has got it, because the gap increases, and it's when they come to the chicane and out of it that Alan Jones closes. Let's watch. Yes, and Villeneuve's lost it. Incredible! Villeneuve, 360-degree spin. Jones manages to avoid him and goes through and takes the lead. Fantastic! Alan Jones, and that's not Villeneuve behind him there, that's Nelson Piquet. And Villeneuve's got going again. He's still in the race, he's still in second place, but there's a new leader, and it's this man, number 27, Alan Jones. Winner last time and winner the time before in Austria and in Germany. Now on his way to an almost unbelievable hat-trick for himself and 4 wins in a row for the Saudia Williams team. 47 laps completed into lap 48, 75 lap race, Alan Jones leads. And here it is again, Alan Jones chasing Villeneuve. Now watch Villeneuve, he's onto the curb. He clips the curb again. The back swings round, he's missed the catch fencing. Alan Jones has feathered the accelerator. Villeneuve spins right round 180 degrees. It keeps turning, and watch the front wheels to see how he avoids the Armco barrier to his right. All the tyres smoke. Alan Jones is locked up momentarily, goes through and takes the lead. Now Villeneuve incredibly turns those front wheels to the left and avoids the Armco, keeps going, but has lost at the very least 10 seconds to the leader here, number 27, Alan Jones from Australia in the Al Bilad Saudia Williams. I wonder if Villeneuve can conceivably do anything about catching Jones. He's done it once in this race, and he is the most incredibly cool, ice-cold individual at the wheel. And it's just conceivable that he could catch Alan Jones, but not if Alan has anything to do with it, as Jones comes down at the end of the lap into Tarzan, and now he knows he's got to pace himself. The car's going well, Alan's going well, tremendously confident, on the crest of a wave of success. He had only won one Grand Prix before this year, and that was the Austrian Grand Prix in 1977 at the wheel of a shadow. And that's Villeneuve again. He's done it again. And look at the near side rear wheel tyre. He's at Tarzan, and he's thoughtfully looking at the back of the car. Up comes his visor. What is he going to do? He's starting. He's spun the rear wheel right inside the tyre, back onto the circuit, throws mud and dirt all over it, and that's not good. And he's getting going. He's got a whole lap to go before he can get back to the pits, and now you can see the incredible shape of the rear wheels on modern Formula One cars, like gigantic aluminium cotton reels. And this is hardly believable. Villeneuve with a ribbon of rubber and nearly losing the car altogether. He's on 3 wheels, and the whole of the near side rear suspension must be dragging on the ground, and that won't be doing it any good at all. He's out of Hugenholtz now. He's up towards the Hunserhoek, and he's got all the top bit to do, round Panorama, round Boswheat, before he can get into the pits. And see the speed he's going. Off flies a bit of rubber, bit of a Ferrari souvenir for the thousands of Dutch spectators who'll pour onto the circuit, as Villeneuve comes slowly down to the right-hander towards Panorama. Is he going to make it back to the pits? There's John Watson's broken McLaren in the background. And we're waiting now to see if Gilles Villeneuve appears into sight. There's a white flag waving in the background, and there's Alan Jones. That's a flash of Alan Jones's car as Villeneuve comes into sight with rubber flailing. The feet passes him. Alan Jones, there he goes, past Villeneuve to lap him, and still the gallant French-Canadian is motoring on. And it looks to me as though the Ferrari is in real trouble as he comes into the chicane. There's Piquet past him, and look at that, Sparks, he's on 2 wheels, not 3 wheels, and the whole of that near side wheel, rear wheel, is ripped off the suspension. It's dragging behind the car like a broken limb, and still Villeneuve motors on, determined to get back to the pits, and look at the offside front wheel right off the ground as the rear drags, and it's a miracle that the car isn't catching fire with all those sparks flying from the skirts and the near side, and he's doing a wheelie as he goes down the straight there. And how incredibly difficult it must be to control the car with one steering wheel and one driving wheel on opposite sides of the car. Passed by Hector Ribach, passed by Jackie Ickx. There goes Ickx to start another lap with Ribach behind him, and into the pit lane comes Gilles Villeneuve. Now, what's going to happen? They surely cannot possibly mend the car. There's going to be uproar in the pits and the Ferrari pit is right at this far end of the pit. There's Forgieri, the Ferrari team chief, with the yellow stripes on his jacket. What's he going to do? He waves his hands, trips up over the airline, taps the suspension rear link with his foot. The race is over. Get out of the car, Gilles, you've had it. And Gilles Villeneuve does that. Enormous congratulations for the little French Canadian. His team practically adore him. He's got an enormous amount of guts, and he's proved it yet again. Because just remember that last lap wheel banging contest he had with Arnoux in the French Grand Prix. On goes the cover to hide the broken remains at the rear of the Ferrari, and that is Jody Scheckter up now into 2nd place from 16th in the other Ferrari, to give himself, if he finishes the race, 6 points. And that's Pironi. What an incredible race this is. Number 3, Pironi, in 3rd position, out of the race. So, both Candy Tyrrell's out of the race. One of the Ferraris out of the race. And that means to say that Jacques Laffite is up into 3rd position, just behind Alan Jones, who has lapped him. And it looks as though, yes, Laffite going through to unlap himself. But not to worry for Alan Jones, because Alan just moves over quite deliberately. He knows that Laffite is a full lap behind him, and Laffite is on his way to 4 World Championship points, and in 4th place now it's Nelson Piquet on his way for his first ever World Championship points, and the first Brabham finish in Europe this year, because Niki Lauda, there is Nelson Piquet, Lauda out of the race yet again, and it's a good augury for Nelson Piquet to be team leader for Brabham next year, with Lauda said to be on his way to join McLaren for 1980. Lap 75, and that's the last lap for Alan Jones. 3 in a row. If he can do just over 2.5 miles now, he'll have won the German Grand Prix, the Austrian Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix, and it will be 4 in a row for Saudia Williams, because Regazzoni won in Britain. And nobody's done 3 in a row since Niki Lauda did when he was world champion in 1975. But even if Alan Jones wins, and it seems certain he will do so, he cannot be world champion this year, because he only had a few points from the first half of this year's championship series. And that's a sad commentary on the system. So Alan Jones, nevertheless, on his way for the hat-trick, into the chicane for the last time, over the East Tunnel, down to Panorama. And Frank Williams, the Saudia Williams team chief, and Patrick Head, the designer, must be biting their fingernails up to the elbow until they see that Saudia Williams car come round Bosweet for the 75th last time, and they're going to see it any moment now. And what there, as Alan Jones comes over the line, look to the left, there are the mechanics coming out to greet him home. The checkered flag goes, and Alan Jones has won the 1979 Dutch Grand Prix. He's done the hat-trick. 4 in a row for Saudia Williams. Alan Jones then, 9 points for the World Championship, but there, 2nd and 6 points to increase his championship lead. Jody Scheckter, 3rd, Jacques Laffite, 4th, Nelson Piquet, 5th, Ickx, and in 6th position, Jochen Mass in the Arrows. Jody Scheckter increases his lead in the World Championship. Laffite could still win, Villeneuve could still win, but none of the others have got a chance. And Jody Scheckter, if he wins the World Championship this year, will almost certainly have done it as a result of what happened at the start of this year's Dutch Grand Prix. There he is, arrowed. Now watch, it was either brilliant anticipation or amazing luck. But whatever, he hung right back as Arnoux and Regazzoni got involved in that wheel-banging fracas. Jody Scheckter, right at the back in 16th position, kept clear of it, went on to finish second. Was it luck or was it brilliant driving? Either way, it could decide the World Championship. Well, Scheckter may be on his way to World Champion, but today belongs to Alan Jones there. And in a fortnight's time, he'll try to make it 4 in a row for himself and 5 for his team at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza.